Tonight, a fresh look at how to find missing people. As police look at initiatives to help track people down, we hear of the impact of not knowing what's happened to a loved one has on families.
I just wish I had some place to go and visit. I've got nothing.
Also making the headlines, Reform UK wins its first Scottish seat in a council by-election.
What the hell's the matter?
Can it go any farther?
Oh, here's Clara with her bara.
Remembering the legendary comedian and actor Stanley Baxter, who's died aged 99. And in sport, it's Cup final weekend as St Mirren and Celtic battle for the first trophy of the season. I'm John Mackay. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. Imagine facing the festive period if you have a family member who's missing. That's the case for one Fife couple whose son vanished 12 years ago, leaving them devastated and distressed. They're among a number of people who have shared their experience as police work with relatives to develop better ways to track down missing people. With thousands still going missing every year in Scotland, Laura Piper has been finding out more.
Alan and Mari are preparing for another Christmas without their son. Alan Bryant Jr. disappeared when he was 23 years old after a night out in Glenrothes in 2013. His parents say every year without him gets harder.
It's just we're stuck the last 12 years. It's just not moved on. It's just time stood still for us. Everyone else is getting on with their lives and we're just like...
It's hard to watch,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody getting on with their lives and also like that. Like I don't really socialise now. I've no socialised.
I just wish I had some place to go and visit. I've got nothing.
Yeah, it destroys you. Right.
Yeah. Hi.
Alan's disappearance remains a missing person inquiry, one of nearly 15,000 missing incidents reported to Police Scotland every year. Most people who do go missing are found safe, but for those who aren't, the toll on their family is significant. People who have had loved ones go missing have been sharing their experiences with police to help shape how services respond. Claire's former husband, Lance Corporal Alan Forcer, went missing in 2020. The father of 3 who served in Kosovo had post-traumatic stress disorder.
He went missing in May 2020. I called the police with serious concerns for his welfare. I didn't really get the impression that they were understanding the concept of what it was that I was saying. So I set about basically trying to educate the police and help them, retrieve information faster and allocation of resources and get the risk assessment right, basically, because Alan was sadly found sort of 3 days later, deceased within Woodland between Darlington and Stockton-on-Tees.
The first hours of a person going missing are critical. The faster the response, the better the chances of locating them alive. The Forcer protocol means police can get vital information quickly from families. Police have told STV News they will be looking at bringing the protocol to Scotland, a move welcomed by veterans' charities.
The more veterans that we can find quickly, then that will be better for the veterans, it'll be better for their families. So we very much support the Forcer protocol rolling out here.
Since the launch of a national missing persons framework in Scotland, less people have been reported as missing, but police say more can be done.
Ultimately, the ideal for me in policing is that people don't go missing because they know how to connect to services that help keep them safe and they know how to keep themselves safe. So until that number's at 0, you won't ever hear from me that we are in a place where we think, this is a good place to be.
For Alan and Mari, their search for Alan continues.
My son's been missing for over 12 years now, and I just want to say to my son, I know he's not here, but I believe he can hear me. And
Just like we love you, Alan.
And his dad will never give up.
Laura Piper, STV News.
Reform UK has won its first seat in Scotland following a council by-election in West Lothian. David McLennan took the seat from Labour, defeating his closest rival, the SNP candidate, by 149 votes. The party has described the result as historic. Well, our political correspondent Ewan Petrie is here. Ewan, how significant is this result?
Well, I don't think there's any question that it is a very significant result, and it's one that's taken many people by surprise, not least within the Reform Party itself. They'd expected to come a good second in this, so when I spoke to them earlier on, they were understandably over the moon about this outcome. It's their first electoral success in Scotland. All their other representatives at council level and at Holyrood are defections from other parties. So it's significant in that sense, and it's also significant in that it feeds into this narrative that is a party with momentum less than 5 months out from the Holyrood election, and they believe that they provide an alternative for those who are fed up with what they call the establishment parties.
We're speaking the language that they understand. Common sense is coming to a lot of it. The rhetoric that are coming out from the Labour and the SNP parties has been what they've been used to for the last 16 or 17 years, and they've just had enough of it. And I think they're willing to give us another shot.
What do you make of the rhetoric from your own party leader, Nigel Farage? Some accuse him and others within the party of being racist. Are you comfortable with the language that is coming from some of the leadership in the party?
I think the language coming from the leadership is the language from the leadership. I don't necessarily think it's from the body corporate of the members. I think that they are in completely different situations to many of us, and I certainly think that sticks and stones.
Are you comfortable with it, though? You're an elected representative of that party now. They're leading that party.
Well, I think that the fact that people of West Lothian found that I was willing to be or worthy of being elected, that says a lot to me. It doesn't matter what they call us on the airwaves. It's what the people think in the background.
And Ewan, how much can be read into this result when looking ahead to the Holyrood election next year?
Well, I think there are limits in just how much we can read into this result. Turnout was just over 22%, so around 4 in every 5 voters didn't even bother turning out for this. And of course, it's a different voting system at council level. But having said that, Reform did win the most first preference votes in this election, so it would have taken this seat in a first-past-the-post election. And it does also chime with that poll we released earlier in the week, which suggested a rise in support for Reform, with Labour and the Conservatives falling back. And Reform will now be eyeing more seats in the Central Belt as potential targets in that election. So there is no doubt that this will certainly be a wake-up call for all the other parties.
Yeah, thank you. The Justice Secretary will give evidence to the Scottish Parliament's Education Committee next week, along with child abuse expert Alexis Jay. It comes after the Scottish Conservatives wrote to the independent advisers to the Ministerial Code asking for an investigation into Angela Constance. Opposition MSPs have accused her of misleading Parliament about comments made by Alexis Jay in a row over a grooming gangs inquiry. The Scottish Government says it has received the letter and will respond in due course. 14 areas of Scotland, including Niddrie, Sighthill, Hamilton Town Centre and Fauldhouse, are to benefit from up to £280 million of cash, which the UK Government says will bolster pride in communities. The locations, spread across 12 council areas, will now receive up to £20 million each over the next 10 years as part of the scheme. Tributes have been paid to a giant of Scottish entertainment, Stanley Baxter, who has died at the age of 99. The Glasgow-born star was once one of the biggest names on British television, a pantomime regular and an impressionist who was bold enough to mimic the Pope and even the Queen. Our chief reporter, Shannon Frew, looks back on his incredible career on stage and screen.
What the hell's the matter?
Can he go no farther?
Oh, here's Clara with her barra.
From the classic sketches of Parliamo Glasgow to the panto stage, Stanley Baxter entertained generations for decades.
Is that a mara in your barra, Clara?
It's not a mara.
Oh, it's a mara stumbled to the barra.
He's one of the greatest talents ever to emerge from Scotland. He was a trailblazer, he was bold, he was subversive, he was a little bit dark in his comedy at times, but he was always enthralling. As a man up on stage, Stanley had incredible charisma and ability to connect with an audience.
I remember seeing him in Edinburgh at the King's, and every costume he walked out on was just magnificent. So I think he was one of the first to actually make pantos an amazing production affair. He was the all-time great dame, he really was.
Throughout the 60s, 70s and 80s, the Glasgow-born star was one of the biggest names on British television.
Excuse me, you don't mind me asking, but are you Stanley Baxter?
His career began with BBC's Children's Hour. After a time spent entertaining the troops and his national service, Stanley Baxter joined Glasgow's Citizens Theatre. He played a lead role in the first ever programme broadcast on STV, alongside Jimmy Logan.
Get a fag. Turn us loose, set us free. We've no use.
When I sailed into that Queen Margaret Drive studio and met this ebullient vaudevillian, it was very different from the kind of people I'd been working with at Citizens Theatre, you see.
I hope they think you're funny, because I know you need the money. Come on, smile.
Oh, of course, it was always fun with Jimmy.
You know, a funny thing happened to me on the way to the studio tonight.
Wait a minute, Stanley. You can't begin...
London came calling in the late 1950s, and so did the silver screen. The first of 7 movies, Geordie, was made in 1955. National fame was achieved with the Stanley Baxter Show.
Life's a treat and joy's complete in a state of grace.
A move from the BBC to ITV led to more comedy extravaganzas, with lavish sets, big musical numbers and spectacular costumes.
Thank you. You've been a very warm audience. Good night.
His Christmas specials also included a royal performance.
Tell her to face more to the right. No, not like on the 50p coin.
To another generation, he was Mr. Magica, a wizard schoolteacher.
Oh, that's what happens when you're out of practice at this lark.
Stanley's biographer says the star could have cast a spell in another magical role.
Mr. Potter.
He could have gone into Harry Potter and become a wizard there. He was offered it. I think he was a bit afraid of the publicity that would ensue with something which was just so big.
Intensely private, the actor rarely spoke about his personal life, but at the age of 94, he revealed his long struggle with his sexuality.
The main reason that Stanley didn't want to come out at that time was he was quite afraid that his audiences wouldn't love him. And that's kind of sad. I mean, nowadays that sounds almost preposterous because we have so many fantastic performers who happen to be gay. But for Stanley at that time, it was such a pejorative. He just couldn't take that chance. But the great thing when the book was published, the response that he got was phenomenal.
I'm going to tear off that fancy dress and smother you all over with custard, sponge cakes and sherry. No, I won't be trifled with.
The work you put in the 60s and the 70s stands on its own. You're a marvel. And you've got beautiful legs.
In 2020, this outstanding contribution to film and television was recognised by BAFTA Scotland. Legendary performances and sketches will now be remembered and enjoyed once again as the world of entertainment celebrates the life of a star of a golden age.
Remembering Stanley Baxter. A man has been convicted of attempted murder after he attacked 2 men with a glass bottle while drunk on a train from Glasgow Queen Street. 48-year-old Thomas Craig, one of his victims, so injured he needed intensive care. He will be sentenced at the High Court in Glasgow in January. A carer who left 8 teenage boys in hospital after a hit and run has avoided jail. Stephen Gilmour crashed into the youths, aged between 12 and 17, in Glasgow's Provan Mill in August 2022. He was found guilty of causing serious injury and injury by careless driving. The 37-year-old has been ordered to do 200 hours of unpaid work and disqualified from driving for 15 months. Cumbernauld Theatre has been saved from closure after securing £150,000 of funding from the Scottish Government. The Trust, which runs the theatre, launched a fundraising campaign earlier this year, warning its future was at risk if it could not raise £300,000. It received a further £40,000 from public donations, and funding from Creative Scotland was also approved. Businesses across Stirling say they're worried they may lose customers when the local authority introduces a visitor levy. Councillors voted for a 3% so-called tourist tax set to be introduced in 2027. The tax will be added to the price of overnight accommodation all year round. Iona Brownlee reports.
Could this be last orders? This distillery at the foot of Stirling Castle is Scotland's smallest and relies on visitors coming and staying in the local area. But with the tourist tax on the way, they're being left with a bitter taste.
One of our biggest footfall is from the castle. We're only about a 3-minute walk and we're situated on the Castle Rock, so they might just not come to Stirling at all and go to the other cities. It would be good to see the money get reinvested into Stirling from a marketing point of view. Use the money to promote Stirling as a place to visit, a place to be. Invest it into events, the infrastructure, the overall visitor experience in the city.
The levy will add an extra 3% to the cost of overnight accommodation. But with Stirling Council stretching from Tyndrum in the north to Bridge of Allen in the east and out to Drimmen in the west, what's needed in one part of the council doesn't fit in another. Gordon has run the Mar Huts in Drimmen since 2019. The two huts are popular with hikers walking the West Highland Way, close to the border with East Dunbartonshire, where there isn't a visitor levy.
I think, if I had a choice of, 5-10 minutes down the road and it was a different council area and I wasn't being charged that levy, then I would make that choice as a customer. So yes, I think it will have a massive impact on us. And also reducing other costs. We have a local cleaning team that live locally in the area, and weighing up how do we, supplement that additional charge to our business. The road network around this Loch Lomond and parking is a huge issue. My worry, because it's such a broad fund and because we're in a rural part of Stirlingshire, that actually that money won't be spent in the areas that it's generating. So my concern, because we're the national park, that's not going to have the same impact.
Stirling Council say the levy is an opportunity to invest and grow the city's tourism economy, adding money brought in by the levy will be spent on projects to attract more visitors to the area, something these businesses are keen to see.
There's bigger cities that get a lot more promotion than we do here in Stirling. We want to make Stirling a destination and a place to visit, not just a place to pass through.
Iona Brownlee, STV News, Stirling.
Now Ron is here to look ahead to the weekend sport.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Christmas Sale.
I was fixing myself there, folks. Sorry. A very good evening. The first silverware of the season is up for grabs this weekend as St Mirren and Celtic go head-to-head in the League Cup final. For Saints boss Stephen Robinson, the message to his players is clear: make your family and the fans proud. For holders Celtic, licking their wounds after a bruising night in Europe, new boss Wilfried Nancy is hoping a cup win can ease some early troubles at Parkhead. To leave more questions than answers. But today, the Frenchman was once again defiant.
This game for me was important because it gives me the possibility to set the standard regarding what we want to achieve, and it was good to compare certain things. So now we move forward. We have a game, as you know, in 2 days, and this is the most important.
Now attention turns to Sunday's League Cup final, a chance for Nancy to get his hands on the first silverware of the season. It's a trophy Celtic are turning up to Hampden to defend, and a trophy the new manager hopes can get the fans on side.
I am optimistic as a person, so hopefully we're going to do it, and also if it's going to validate, what we are doing. Now this is more for the players, because again, they deserve, this win regarding what all the change and so on.
For St Mirren, a chance at history. A 4-1 win over Motherwell in the semi-final sets up the Buddies' return to a major final for the first time in more than a decade. And for Stephen Robinson, a simple message to his players.
You may never get this opportunity again. And some players go through their whole career without a cup final. I had one in my footballing career, and always thought another one would come, and it never did. So we've made sure we've reiterated that grab this opportunity.
The League Cup win of 2013 is written in folklore for the club, as well as the town of Paisley, Thousands of fans lining the streets to greet their heroes, and Robinson hopes they can reward fans for the recent faith they've shown in the club.
The opportunity comes around once in a lifetime for St Mirren fans, twice if you're lucky. And when you meet people, you realise how much this club means. As football means so much to so many people, you know, sometimes it is their life. They come here, they get away from things that aren't great, and they put absolutely everything into it and every penny that they have. So to see that pride that they go for, and I've said to the players, look, make your families proud, make the fans proud. That's all we ask, and to do that, you have to give the best version of yourself. That's all we ask.
The National Stadium is set as black and white face green and white. But the big question, will it be St Mirren or will it be Celtic? Rangers' Europa League hopes are in tatters after a 2-1 defeat to Ferencváros last night, with Danny Röhl admitting he was angry and disappointed at how easy his side conceded their 2 goals. David Gray says he still doesn't know if he'll be without 3 first-team stars for Monday's trip to Ibrox, with talks ongoing ahead of the Africa Cup of Nations. Meanwhile, Hearts defender Stuart Findlay says the team is blocking out noise around their table-topping form as they look to extend their lead in the Premiership tomorrow night. Here's Jamie Bothwick.
They're losing more players to international duty this month than any other in the league, as Jordan Obita, Rocky Bushiri and Miguel Chaiwa prepare to head to Morocco for the African Cup of Nations. But with Hibs' match against Rangers moved to Monday, David Gray's in a fight not to lose them for another key fixture.
There's still communication and conversations going on with the nations. I still expect us to have a couple available, but that might change as well. So I've not got any concrete confirmation as yet. Players just want to play in every game probably, so I think they're looking at, especially the fact that, you know, when you play for Hibs, the opportunity to go and play at Ibrox on Monday night, and off the back of a very good home display for the last game, 3-0 at home.
Hearts had been questioned as they went 4 games without a win. Now they're being talked back up after defeating Celtic to go clear in first place once again. For the squad, the focus is solely on Saturday night's trip to Falkirk.
There's going to be outside noise from supporters, from journalists. There's a story there. They can do what they want with that. We know what we've got to do, and they're changing them. We know how big a win it was for us, not just in terms of the league, but in terms of getting us back onto the track we want to be on. And now it's just important we make sure we carry that into Falkirk. There's no point in winning that game against Celtic and then not following up with a really good performance, which is going to be a very testing venue for us.
Stuart Kettlewell will serve a 1-match ban for his red card in Kilmarnock's defeat to Rangers as he faced up to his frustrations boiling over at Rugby Park.
You know, I'm a human being at the end of the day as well. I have in the past as a player and a coach, the manager, been fiery and somebody that's seen plenty of red cards, and I don't say that and wear it like a badge, but you know, I work hell of a hard, the same as everybody else here at the football club, to try and see if you can get an outcome in a game of football. And as I say, that's not a show for me. That's a bit where sometimes it consumes you.
Killie face Aberdeen on Sunday. Elsewhere, it's Dundee United versus Motherwell, and Livingston host Dundee. Jamie Borthwick, STV Sport.
That is all your sport tonight, folks. Have a very good weekend. We're back same time on Monday. Bye for now.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Christmas Sale.
Sean's here with the weather now, and Sean, you've already started the countdown to Christmas.
Oh, look at that, the lights are on back.
So before you can ask it, I'll ask you, what are the chances of knowing what the weather's going to be like for Christmas?
Well, I'm going to be quite vague here. You know, I'm not often vague with the weather, but this weekend what I can tell you is it's going to be extremely wet out there, especially in the west of the country, and also extremely mild as well. We could get 15 or 16 on Sunday in parts of the northeast of the country, but have a look at this. Towards the end of the month, there is a very, very gentle trend downwards in the temperatures. So at this stage, it looks as if it may feel a bit more seasonal for Christmas, and fingers crossed, a bit drier. Not so dry this weekend. Let's have a look.
Wet by the coast, with a high chance of sun and splashing. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
So those temperatures will be rising, turning very mild on Sunday, about 14, 15 degrees in some spots. But this weekend for us, the main story is it is going to be extremely wet, especially South Lanarkshire, the borders, parts of Ayrshire, brighter colours in there. Also Clyde, Muirshiel, possibly a few inches of rain, and across Argyll and Bute in the Highlands. Ballachulish, look at the 70 millimetres possible through the course of the weekend. Over the hills, 100 millimetres possible. But the further east you are, not quite as wet, but 15 millimetres Falkirk. It is still a pretty damp weekend, but especially wet further west where there is the risk of some localised flooding. So this weekend is not looking good at all. You're just going to have rain pretty much tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night and all day on Sunday as well, and some strong winds around too. At least tonight remains dry, clear for many of us. We hang on to blustery showers though across northwestern parts. A little bit of a chilly night as well. Now tomorrow morning, so you said it was going to be bad. Well, look at that. It's a lovely start to the day, especially in the south of the country. But there we go. There's the rain coming. Starts off across Argyll and Bute, the Highlands, spreading its way eastwards to all parts through the afternoon. You've got the bright colours in there as well, so some of it will be heavy. And we've also got the wind picking up. It's not a nice afternoon at all. It's wet, it's windy, 10 degrees Celsius. And unfortunately on Sunday, more heavy rain to come through and unsettled through next week. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, it's become an annual fixture for the traditional music scene, Hoolie in the Hydro. It returns to Glasgow tomorrow night, and this year's edition is being themed as The Big-In, dedicated to honouring Billy Connolly's contributions to Scottish culture over the last 60 years. Hannah Carmichael has been meeting some of the lineup.
The countdown is on until the biggest night for Scottish traditional music. Some of the acts are getting one last practice in before they take to the stage.
We're really excited and looking forward to it. We've had a wonderful rehearsal today, pulling everything together. We're just getting ourselves all set for a massive night.
Hoolie in the Hydro is in its 4th year, and with over 10,000 people set to attend, it's on track to be the best-selling so far.
They come from all the wee villages, the Highlands, the Islands, and all across the UK and indeed across Europe and the wider world. It's remarkable. I think it's amazing. It feels like a really strong family of people that's just growing who want to come and celebrate our music and culture.
This year's lineup includes Manran, Elephant Sessions, Trail West and Beluga Lagoon, as well as some special guests from Oban High School.
Are you up for joining us? Yeah! Magic! Yay! They're sounding incredible. I'm hearing more from their mums and dads and grannies and grandmas how much they're looking forward to it, but certainly I think for them taking to the stage in this setting will certainly be something that they'll remember for the rest of their days.
The gig is also celebrating the work of Billy Connolly with the help of some familiar faces.
I mean, I'm in panto at the moment, as you can tell by the look at the makeup, but for me to come down and rehearse in between, it's a testament to Billy, really, that I wanted to do it.
Can you share a little bit about what you're going to do on the night?
I actually thought, oh, I'll just do another song. And he said, no, we're doing Billy songs. Would you sing Supergram? And I went, I'm not sure about that. And then I listened to it and I thought, oh, God, it's so funny. You know, to be able to do a song with lines like, she comes on strong like the Bengal Lancers. She makes you all look like a bunch of chancers. It's just fantastic. So when I was seeing the lyrics, I thought, oh, I need to do it.
Well, it's all taking place behind me here at the Hydro tomorrow night. The stage is being set, the bands are tuning up. Glasgow gets ready for a Hoolie. Hannah Carmichael, STV News.
Hoolie, a great word that. Well, that's it from all of us here. Updates throughout the weekend on air and online. But thank you for watching. Have a good weekend.